Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Holy Joe Rock and Roll Show, live and unscripted.
Welcome to In.The.News. I'm your host, Holy Joe Rock and Roll. It's May the 9th, 2017. Yesterday, May the 8th, there was a congressional hearing about the so-called Russian hacking of the 2016 presidential election and Russian interference. A lot of allegations and claims were made, and testifying under oath were James Clapper, the former Director of National Intelligence, who is retired, and Sally Yates, the former Deputy Attorney General, who was fired for not enforcing Donald Trump's first executive order restricting temporarily immigration from 7 countries. You can see that Sally Yates worked under former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, which she was definitely a Democrat appointee. And what strikes me as odd is that as the hearings opened, again, there was a litany of so-called Russian interference in the election. But when Sally Yates had the opportunity to provide any evidence, she claimed that she could not provide any evidence because it was classified. Now, if the Russian interference was so widespread and so blatant, there has to be evidence that you could reveal that is not classified. Now, when James Clapper was asked if General Flynn, who was President Donald Trump's pick for National Security Advisor, if he had any information that General Flynn had done anything wrong, he said no. He had no evidence that he had done anything wrong. When Sally Yates was asked the same question, she said she could not answer the question because it was classified, but not to infer that the answer would be yes. Totally destroying the case against General Flynn. Now, the allegations are that after the election, remember the election for president was held the second Tuesday in November of 2016, and supposedly after the election, General Flynn had met with the Russian ambassador, and possibly because the Russian ambassador was probably being surveilled or wiretapped, probably had a conversation about reducing the sanctions against Russia over either over Crimea or over the Obama sanctions that were put in, blaming that Russia had hacked the election or influenced the election. So that's possible. That's just speculation on my part. Now, apparently, General Flynn may have told the vice president that he didn't have any contact with the Russians, and maybe that was, I don't know. Again, this is speculation because Vice President Pence was on the news, and he was saying that General Flynn had no contact with the Russians. Now, because of this whole hoopla, then General Flynn was forced to resign his position because maybe he had made some misstatements to Vice President Pence. But nothing wrong had been done. Nothing wrong had been done. And Sally Yates claims that she believed that because General Flynn said that he had no contact with the Russians, he could be open to blackmail. Okay, that's the whole crux of the situation right there. Basically, it's a nothing burger. There is no evidence presented. There's no conclusive evidence. There's not even conclusive evidence. There's absolutely no evidence been presented to show, number one, that the Russians interfered with this election, and number two, that General Flynn had done anything wrong and that he should have been forced to resign or be fired. Absolutely nothing shown. It was the most boring, tedious bullshit fest, well, if I could say that, on Capitol Hill. Just another boring bullshit fest on Capitol Hill. No new information provided, no evidence provided, just bullshit, just trying to make the Trump administration look bad. That's all this is pure politics. Sally Yates, total nothing burger. James Clapper, again, he had no evidence. He stated, matter of fact, he had no evidence. He had heard of no evidence. He had seen no evidence. So this is a complete fabrication, a complete nothing burger. And why are we not investigating Hillary Clinton's involvement in selling the Russians 20% of American uranium? The interest in Uranium One, they allowed Russia to invest into this company, which provides like 100% of the uranium in the U.S. 20% of this company now is owned by the Russians, who everything goes back to Putin. Supposedly Putin has a stake in this Russian entity that owns 20% of Uranium One. Hillary Clinton approved that deal as Secretary of State. Where's the investigation on that? Is that not Russian interference, Russian involvement in the economy, in a strategic asset, uranium, which is also a precursor to nuclear bombs? Okay, that's a big deal. Why wasn't Attorney General Lynch subpoenaed? Former Attorney General Lynch subpoenaed. What information does she have? There's just complete fabrication and nonsense, and it really should be understood that this is pure politics. I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll. This has been In the News. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you're new. And remember to always make it happen for the captain, because ultimately, you are the captain.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Go ahead.